For as long as we've looked up at the stars, we've wondered the same thing. Is there another kind of mind out there? Something intelligent that thinks nothing like we do? We've sent probes across the solar system and listened to the sky for decades, hoping to find it. And the whole time, the closest thing to an alien intelligence has been hiding right here on Earth. Not in space, but in the ocean. The octopus. It has 3 hearts. Its blood runs blue. Most of its mind isn't even in its head. It's spread out through its arms. And by the end of this, you'll understand why scientists genuinely describe studying an octopus as the closest we may ever come to meeting a mind from another world. Along with a heartbreaking catch that almost none of that brilliance gets to keep. Before we dive in, tap like and subscribe if you want more strange animal stories like this. Done? Brilliant. Let's go meet our alien. Start with the body, because nothing about it follows the rules you're used to. An octopus has no bones at all. The only hard part of its entire body is its beak, a small parrot-like structure at the center of its arms. Everything else is pure muscle and skin. That means an octopus can pour itself through any opening its beak can fit through. Watch a creature the size of a basketball flow through a gap barely wider than a coin, and you start to realize this is an animal built on a completely different blueprint. Then there's the plumbing. An octopus doesn't have 1 heart. It has 3. 2 pump blood through the gills to load it with oxygen, and a third sends it around the rest of the body. And that blood isn't red like ours. It's blue. That's because instead of iron, octopuses carry oxygen using a copper-based molecule called hemocyanin. That adaptation works far better in cold, low-oxygen water. 3 hearts, blue blood, no bones, and a jet engine to finish the set. It can draw water into its body and fire it out to rocket away in an instant, leaving a cloud of ink behind. We're barely getting started, and it already sounds like science fiction. But the truly mind-bending part isn't the hearts or the blood. It's where the octopus keeps its mind. A common octopus has around 500 million neurons, roughly the same count as a dog. The shocking part is the arrangement. About 2/3 of those neurons aren't in its central brain at all. They're distributed down its 8 arms. Think about what that means. Each arm has its own dense cluster of nerve cells, its own local processing power. Each one can taste and feel through its suckers and react to the world on its own, without waiting for orders from the central brain. In fact, a severed octopus arm will keep reaching and recoiling from a pinch for a while after it's separated. The controls for those movements live right there in the limb. So the popular line that an octopus has 9 brains, 1 in the head and 1 in each arm, is a simplification. But it's pointing at something real. This isn't a single commander dragging 8 limbs around. It's a mind shared across the whole body. An intelligence that begins in the very arms that touch the world first. And that distributed mind is astonishingly clever. Octopuses solve puzzles. They open jars to reach food. They recognize individual human faces. And they remember people they like and people they don't. But the stories that really capture it are the escapes. Because octopuses are legendary escape artists. The most famous of all is an octopus named Inky. Inky lived at the National Aquarium of New Zealand until one night in 2016 he found his tank lid left slightly open after maintenance. He climbed out, crossed the floor of the aquarium, located a narrow drain pipe about 50 meters long, or 164 feet, that led to the sea, squeezed himself into it, and vanished. Staff followed his trail of water the next morning, but Inky was gone. He had planned his way back to the ocean, and he was never seen again. And it isn't just escapes. Out in the wild, scientists have filmed the veined octopus collecting discarded coconut shell halves, cleaning them out, stacking them, and carrying them across the seafloor to assemble into a shelter later. That's tool use, planning to use an object for a future purpose, something we once believed only a handful of clever vertebrates could manage. An invertebrate, a cousin of the snail, is doing it on the ocean floor. Now for the trick that borders on the impossible. An octopus can transform the color, the pattern, and even the texture of its skin to match its surroundings in under a third of a second. It does this with millions of tiny pigment cells in its skin, each one controlled by the nervous system like a living pixel. The result is camouflage so perfect, the animal seems to dissolve into the rock. Here's the impossible part. The octopus is almost certainly colorblind. Its eyes contain just a single type of light-sensitive pigment, which, by every normal measure, means it cannot see color at all. About as colorblind as a dog. So how does a creature that can't see color paint itself to match a coral reef? Scientists are still working on the answer, and the leading ideas are wonderful. One is that the octopus may sense light directly through its skin, in effect, seeing with its whole body. Another is that it isn't matching exact colors at all. It's matching brightness, the lightness and darkness of its background. And since most of the predators hunting it, like sharks, are themselves colorblind and see the world in contrast, matching brightness may be all it takes to disappear. If you've got your own theory about how a colorblind animal became the ocean's greatest quick-change artist, that's exactly the kind of questions still driving the science. So step back and ask the big question. Why is this animal so intelligent? And why does its intelligence feel so strange? The answer is the reason scientists reach for the word alien. Our kind of intelligence and the octopus's kind evolved completely separately. Our last common ancestor was a simple, possibly worm-like creature that lived more than 500 million years ago with nothing we'd call a brain. Everything clever about us, and everything clever about the octopus, was invented twice, independently, on two totally different branches of life. It is the closest thing we have to a second, alien experiment in building a mind. And we can study it right here on our own planet. Which brings us to the catch, and it's a genuinely sad one. For all that brilliance, an octopus's life is heartbreakingly short. Many species live only 1 to 2 years, and the ending is built into them. When a female octopus lays her eggs, she stops eating. She spends the rest of her life guarding them, fanning fresh water over them, never leaving, slowly starving as she protects the next generation. By the time the eggs hatch, the mother is dying, and she passes away as her young drift off into the sea. The males don't last much longer after mating. Sit with what that means. Each octopus invents its cleverness almost from scratch. They're solitary. They don't raise their young, and they don't live long enough to teach anyone anything. All that problem-solving, all that curiosity, all that alien brilliance. It flickers on for a year or two, and then it's gone, with nothing passed down. Imagine how much further these minds might go if they simply had more time, and each other. We spent centuries scanning the sky for a mind unlike our own. It turns out one was here the whole time, in the water beneath us, three-hearted, blue-blooded, thinking with its arms, painting itself invisible without ever seeing color, and burning bright and brief in the dark. The octopus isn't a monster from the deep. It's something far rarer. Proof that intelligence can be built more than one way, and a reminder of how strange and wonderful the neighbors we already have really are. If this changed how you see the octopus, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments which creature we should explore next. There's a whole ocean of them left.